Hello and welcome back to the Creative Real Estate Agent. I'm your host, Anastasia Forrest, a broker associate with eXp Realty and creative person. Today, I'm a little preoccupied with the glare from the window across from me. I spent about, 15 minutes trying to figure out how to avoid it. But I realized that you definitely don't want to look at that side of the room or that side, so we're pretty much stuck with this side, and the window happens to be directly across from me. And I happen to be wearing glasses today, which I could change that, but I don't want to. So I'm just going to try not to think too much about the glare and how it looks in the video, and just kind of go with it. And anyway, this is a podcast primarily, but I also record it. And more often than not, I live stream it on Facebook. Sometimes I don't, but and I have actually the past couple times I haven't. But today I thought I would go ahead and live stream it as well to just put this out there, and here it goes. So today I'm talking about confidence. Wow, I think this is just a really timely topic, especially for me right now. And it actually, confidence is a really big deal in a business like real estate. But we are going to talk about more than just real estate. And that brings me actually to something else I wanted to talk about today. I think I'm going to change the just change a little bit, like the intro to the show. You don't always hear that on this version of the show, the video version, but on the podcast I have a spiel that I pre-recorded, and it says how this is the place to get ideas and how to supercharge your real estate business using your creativity, etc. But like I've realized lately that this show is about more than just that. It's not really just ideas, and it's not really just guest after guest after guest, because I love having guests, and I'm going to have a lot more. I actually have one I'm really excited about for next week. But I also just talk about life, and and real estate is definitely part of that life. And I talk about real estate a lot, but I also talk about life and dealing with ups and downs, and work-life balance. So I might just adjust a little bit the direction of the show and the description of the show, and just allow it to be a little bit more all-encompassing into, because when I wrote that description, I honestly didn't know exactly what the show was going to be. I was just starting it. And so now that I've been in it for 22 episodes as of today, I have more of an idea of what the show is right now. So yeah, so there's that. So today, talking about confidence, let's just get into it, okay? So if you look up a definition on confidence on Google, for example, and you get, the definitions get laid out, and like this. There are a few. There's more than a couple, and to simplify this, I'm just gonna we're gonna look at two categories of confidence, and one has to do with yourself, and one has to do with your confidence in things external to you. So personal self-confidence, and then confidence in things that are outside of you. And I'm going to read a couple definitions, the two that I pulled that I thought were most relevant to the topic today that I'm going to be discussing. So the first of these definitions, it says that confidence is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. So we had every confidence in the staff. So clearly that one has to do with things outside of us, things external to us. The second definition that applies says confidence is the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, that's a good one too. That one's good too, but that one's less. I didn't mean to put that in there. That was a typo. That one connects with the first one. It also has it's something outside of ourselves, right? If it's a truth outside of, I guess it could be something internal as well, but more so, listen to this example. It is not possible to say with confidence how much the increase in sea levels is due to melting glaciers. So it has to do with your ability to say something with confidence. So it has to do with you, but it has to do with you talking about something outside yourself. Okay, that one definitely applies too. So we're going to put that kind of like in the middle because it has to do with both something within your control, and kind of, and something outside of you, glaciers or real estate data, or, whatever it is. Okay. So that one is, let's put that to the side. All right. The other one that's really relevant to today's discussion is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. And the example statement says, she's brimming with confidence. Like me today. Yeah, I try. I really do try. Okay, so basically, yeah, so it's separated. Can you see what I'm talking about? How I'm saying we're gonna look at something external, the external sense of confidence, and then, your own self-confidence, the kind of definition we associate with the term self-confidence. So I think we probably, I don't know, everybody's different. I'll speak for myself, but I personally go through ups and downs of confidence, both in myself and in the external world. And honestly, like with the external world, we'll start with that. And obviously this is going to tie into real estate, but a really big example of how sometimes events happen that can kind of shake our level of confidence in something is something like COVID-19. And obviously that's something we're all sick of hearing about and talking about, because it's like, oh, it's terrible, right? And it's just, it's something we all wish that wasn't really a reality that we're dealing with, but it is. So anyway, I mean, something like that really disrupted, I think, probably a lot of people's sense of confidence in not only like things that they could count on as far as waking up, going to work, going to get toilet paper and it being there when they go to the store, things like that. But then also confidence in their own mortality. I mean, people passing away from this virus, whether it was somebody close to them, or somebody that they kind of knew, or just somebody on the news they heard about. I mean, it definitely challenged a lot of people's it just reminded us all that we're immortal. So things in the outside world that we place confidence in can be, our level of confidence in those things can be affected by events. And that's one we all deal with every day, not just talking about now COVID. Sorry, that was an example that just seemed like really easy for everyone to understand, and something just, timely, but also, confidence in our, maybe, just anything. Like, for example, for me, if you guys, I don't know if you've listened to the last couple episodes, but I shared that I had something come up that scared me about my health. It was, I was told I needed to go get a CT scan of some old thing from when I had cancer 12 years ago. And it really shook my confidence in my own health, and that's been big for me, because I've felt confident about my health for a really long time. Every time I go to the doctor appointment and I get my good blood work results every year and they say no lumps or bumps, I feel really good and confident that I'm healthy. So for someone to say, we want to get a CT scan and look at this more closely, and guess what? It's going to be 5 days so you can get it, which isn't anybody's fault. It's just the way it was. It shook my confidence in my own health. And then not only my own, but then I started thinking about my family and about this and about that and about that. Because like, you go about your day-to-day life and things are a certain way. There's this predictability, and you start to get under this illusion that things are always going to be the same, or you're always going to wake up and do this and do that, and that everybody's going to be here all the time. But that's just not true, because everybody is eventually going to die. Like, no matter, who it is or what it is or why, like, this is definitely a temporary state of affairs that we're in right now. Um, so, so yeah, but there's this confidence, like, even after I knew I was healthy and I got the good news, I still didn't feel super confident about things are just going to go on the way they go. Like, things are just, I'm going to wake up and do this and do that. It was like, anything could happen anytime, and something's going to happen. It's weird how that can happen, but that can happen when you have something surprising happen to you, and um or someone then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not confident that things are always going to be a certain way. I don't know how things are going to go. Anything could happen. So anyway, there's that. As far as self-confidence goes, well, let me apply this to real estate before getting into self-confidence. Right now, what we're dealing with as far as real estate goes in the market is a market which is in a very unique place right now. To say that things are different than they were even a year ago, and definitely different than they were 2 years ago, is absolutely true. There's an extremely, there's a lot of appreciation going on, extremely competitive market with a lot of buyers wanting to buy, so very high buyer demand. And those of you in real estate, and I know, are dealing with this, and I hear the fatigue happening on that end, because on the buyer, representing a buyer and trying to help your buyer find something and get something, it's different right now. So and of course, everybody wants to know, well, what's going to happen? Can I have confidence in my investment? Can I have confidence that this is the right decision, that I'm making a good choice by buying this house? And then when we as realtors are, considering working with a client, or start working with a client, maybe especially a seller, and we're starting to get to know them, and it works on the buyer side too, but we also very much want to have some kind of confidence that we're not wasting our time, that it's a good investment of our time, because and the buyer side as well, you would like to know that, okay, if I start spending all this time with you and spending all this time on finding you something and working with you, we'd really like to have a confidence that you're eventually going to buy a house with me and not go buy a house with somebody else, that shows up at the last minute. And that's something we deal with as realtors, is building that confidence and building that relationship, and mutual respect for each other's time. But it's something that we have some control over, and something that we get better at as we go. And I myself get better at that, every time, with each crushing blow. Especially, you really do learn from those experiences, and they sting, and you don't quickly forget them. And you definitely start thinking, well, what could I have done differently? And that's something we're going to get into, because that's a way that we can build our confidence, actually. So let's talk about self-confidence. So with self-confidence, the feeling of being and appreciating one's own abilities or qualities, this is extremely important for anybody who's a professional. Obviously, you go for a job interview, you don't want to show up and act like you act shy, or act maybe not capable of what you're there to do. You want to show up and present confidence, and present a very together appearance, and be able to describe in great detail and what your value of being there, your value to that person, to that position, and then also why they should hire you. So for real estate, much the same. Going on a listing appointment, you want to project an image of confidence. It's kind of like going on a date or something, and you're getting to know the other person. Obviously, you want to make a good impression. And in real estate, there's not only is there a level of confidence that you want to have socially, that you have the ability to connect with somebody and be a person that they're going to like, and want to work with. But then there's also confidence in your own ability to get things done, to do the job right, to know the market, to know the value, and know how you can get your customer the best value for their money. For their property. I'm going to take a sip of water. So you guys already know a lot of this stuff. Regardless of whether you're working with a buyer or seller, confidence is really important. And on both sides, they also want to be able to have confidence in you and your abilities as you want to project an image of confidence. So it makes sense. It all makes sense. So one of the questions I had down here to talk about is where does it go though? Because sometimes we have, I'll speak for myself. I love confident people. I actually am drawn to confident people that are also nice. But as far as I go up and down. I have times when I feel very confident, like doing this show. Like I'm like, wow, I was able to do that 20 weeks in a row. I took a couple weeks off. I had so much going on, and I didn't feel like very outgoing. I didn't feel like I had a lot to say or wanted to say anything. So I ebb and flow. And so sometimes, and like I said, events that happen can do that to us too. Like I said, my own personal thing that happened to me, how it affected me. And that there was that, and I didn't mention this, but I think I've mentioned in a previous show that I had a couple at the same time that happened. I had a couple like blows real estate wise, disappointing things have happened where I was expecting one outcome and it didn't happen. And we even we invested a significant amount of money in this lead generating thing, which realtors, we do that. We have to generate leads one way or the other. So sometimes we try out different services, right? And this is one that we're hopeful about. Did it for about 3 months and spent a significant amount of money. And at first it was really exciting because it got was talking to a few different people that seemed really, really serious. It felt like very close to just, I've actually got the pictures done, the video, everything. I was very confident that this person was going to list, and we were just about to sign the papers like the next day, and they backed out. But that happens. That does happen. They change their mind. In this case, they just decided they don't want to sell. There was that, and then the other one that was pretty promising. And we'd been talking with them. I've been talking with them for few weeks, actually, and probably like over a month, on and off. And I was more so communicating with the husband, and then they didn't show up for like a listing appointment. They were late and they didn't call, and they called later, like 30 minutes later, and we'd already left. It was did I mention it was Mother's Day? I think I did. So anyway, though I should have, there's something, anyway, during that week where I was going with having that health thing happen, I got a text saying we actually decided to list with a friend of ours. So obviously I had a lot of other stuff on my mind. It was kind of just like, it didn't hit me that hard that week because like, I don't know, I might have something seriously wrong with me. I'm not really, it's fine. I just said, oh, I wish you the best of luck. I didn't, what are you going to do? But that kind of is something that can impact your confidence, is what I'm trying to say. So when I had a chance to think about it later, it's like, oh, another blow, another disappointment. And it's in real estate, it can really it can be start to feel like a domino effect. You're like, I need a win. So anyway, that's why I'm doing the show about confidence, because I want to talk about that. But I was going to say that I do have a point. So that is on the point of where does it go? Where does our confidence go? It can kind of be depleted by repeated failures or repeated perceived failures. And those can start to kind of chip away at your confidence. You can feel like, well, something's wrong with me, or I didn't do as well as I should have, or something, I did something wrong. I should have vetted that lady, that potential client, better. I should have made sure she was sure before I spent all this time and all this, effort preparing to actually, list this place. But anyway, because you can really start to take that stuff to heart and reflect. But so that's where it can go. We're going to talk about how we fix this. But the other thing I want to talk about is since we're talking about where does confidence go, where does confidence come from? How do we get confidence? I had to figure that out. because that situation I had where I was nervous about my health kind of provoked me into this like existential crisis where like I said, I wasn't sure about anything anymore for a minute there. And I had to develop, I had to like get in touch with a confidence greater than uh, my everyday confidence. And I had to get like kind of get more in touch with my spirituality again. And remember that, and this is like not a show about spirituality, but remember that this life is temporary and there's something awesome afterward. We don't know what it is exactly. I don't think I know what it is exactly. But I know I like have amazing dreams, and I know when I dream it feels real, and it feels like it's in a totally different place than my normal waking reality, but it's still me, and I'm still conscious. So anyway, we can get curious about that all day long, but at the end of the day, it's not up to me when I leave this life. I just know that I will, and that but I have to tell myself that whatever it is next is even better than this. And when God and the universe, whatever, decides that it's my time to go do something else, that's what will happen. And it's not really any of my business to know when, or control it, or push it away, or bring it to me, or any of that. Like, it's just not my business. My business is to do my day-to-day stuff and be the best mom I can be the best wife I can be, and be the best real estate agent I can be. And all that, and just enjoy each moment, just like all of us. That's what all of us have the opportunity to do. You don't have to be a real estate agent, of course. Yeah, so where does our confidence come from? If you set your confidence always on other people, or life, or like events, you're gonna get disappointed, right? It's just not a steady place to probably put your confidence. Maybe your confidence is in nature, or maybe it's something else. Like, I'm not saying you have to like put your confidence in God. I'm not trying to preach or anything like that. But basically what I'm trying to say is that for me, I realized that I was putting too much of my confidence eggs in one basket, here in the material world, here in what it looks like to me is happening. And realize, I had to remind myself, I don't really know why these things are happening. All I know is that they are. It doesn't mean that these bad, it's gonna be keeping bad things happening. And they're not. It doesn't mean that they're even bad. So I just had to kind of look at it a different way. That took some of the pressure off myself. First of all, from myself taking on that pressure and feeling like it was my fault, or that something, a flaw, like a flaw that I can't fix or something. And then also just, and then the world, like, and the external events, realize that they're going to happen how they happen. And anyway, so that covers that question. I was going to say, how important is confidence in our business? And the real estate business, it's very, very important. We already talked about that, obviously. It is important. So it's important for us to be able to take good care of ourselves and our confidence. And when we notice it's getting depleted for whatever reason, I think we need to examine why and what's happening, and find ways to manage that. So, because not only is it important for us to, in our current business that we might have already going, but also to attracting new business, our own morale and our own sense of like being able to enjoy what we're doing. If you don't have confidence in yourself, if you're constantly like feeling like you're not good enough, or something like that, like it's not going to feel good to do these things. It's not going to feel good to make phone calls to people and ask how you can help them. And it's just going to be like an uphill battle. And you might end up just quitting. So it's really important for us to take care of our confidence. So once we notice that our confidence is being depleted for whatever reason, whether internally our self-confidence or our confidence in, the external events, which we've already said aren't really worth, like, we can't really place our confidence in them, but you have to have some little level of like, yeah, I'm gonna wake up. I've got a day planned. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing that. I mean, anyway, so what can we do to get it back once it's being depleted? um, I am going to suggest something. You've probably heard the term flip the script. And flip the script just basically means that this is what I think it means, this is what it means to me, is that you look at something that you've always seen one way, or that you're reading one way or interpreting one way, and then you switch it around in a different way. And usually it's like in an empowering way. So for me, what I did, and honestly, I just did this like a couple days ago, and it's just kind of intuitively, I was like, I got to do this. I wrote down how I felt, because I've had this feeling inside, but I wasn't putting it into words. I had this feeling that everything was going wrong and like all this bad stuff was happening. And so I wrote down like all the bad stuff that had happened recently, and how I felt like it wasn't right because good stuff should be happening, because I was so used to good stuff happening for me. And so I wrote down all the bad stuff, and then the next day, actually, even it felt good to write that down. Even I mean, it seems like it would make you feel worse, right? But for some reason, putting it into words like helped. So then the next day, I decided to write it totally differently, because I also have this other stream of thinking in my mind that's like, no, this is happening for a reason. It's gonna be okay. Like, you don't know what it is. You don't know why these things happen, but you don't know what there's a bigger purpose here. So I decided I'm gonna look at each of those things and write what it could be, but I'm gonna make it positive and make it like a good thing. If this hadn't happened, then something worse would have happened. Or if and I got this test and it showed me I'm really, really healthy, which is really great. This person decided they didn't want to work with me. Like, it's okay. Like, so what? There's gonna be another person that does. It might have been a struggle with them. They didn't show up for the one appointment. How is that going to feel 5 appointments later when they keep doing the same thing? Like, really, things I told myself, I went and revised every single thing I thought was bad, and I made it something good. And I made it like this all happened. I even made up reasons, and it made me feel better. Like, yeah, I know I'm using my imagination a little bit, but it actually really, really helped. Our confidence isn't our imagination anyway, after all, right? It's a state of mind. So, and honestly, it actually started, all of a sudden started seeming like good things were happening after that. It was really weird. It like cleared out the negative pattern, or what the script, it was a script. It was like, it really was like a script. It flipped the script, which was amazing. So if you're struggling with any kind of lapse in self-confidence, or even you could do this with external stuff, like say something negative outside of you, say anything, like, I mean, you could do it about COVID-19 or something. Like me, like, the fact that I'm dealing with this anxiety about this uncontrollable pandemic, or this virus outside of my control, is a lesson. I'm learning a lesson here. I'm learning about letting go, or I'm learning about hygiene, or I'm learning about how precious our health is. I mean, you can definitely um, flip the script about anything, and you don't have to go around telling everybody, because maybe that would offend somebody if you said like, this thing that is really bad for you is something good for me. Like, you don't want to like necessarily brag about that. But it's something personal and private to you that you could write privately or think about. And I think it helps to write it down. Honestly, I'm going to recommend you write it down. You can always throw it away afterward. You don't have to like hold on to it if you don't want to, but there's that. You could also, another thing you could do is affirmations, which are definitely a very popular thing that are recommended, obviously, because they must work, to some extent, or else I don't think so many people would talk about doing them. And you could just make it really simple. You don't have to make it super complicated. Just pick something, simple, like 3 words. You could say, I am capable. I am capable. I am confident. I am confident. Good things are happening. Good things are coming. Good things are here. It's all good. I mean, there's any number of things you could say. But if you really start to reflect on those and meditate on those, that could really make you feel better and start to build your confidence back up. Also do things that empower you. For example, this podcast empowers me. Like, I don't really know why, but like when I go and make a video like this and I do record the podcast and I edit it and I put it out there, like I feel kind of good for the rest of the day. I feel more confident because I did something that maybe I was a little bit scared to do to start with. So doing things that we're a little bit scared to do to start with is a way to build your confidence. I made a phone call yesterday that made me feel more confident. I called the woman that I was telling you about that just changed her mind, and I just called to check on her. I called to see how she was doing. I just called to touch base. And I was a little like nervous. I don't know. I sometimes have this social anxiety, especially with people that I potentially might be doing business with. If you're not in real estate, I don't know if you know this, but like our deals, like we work really hard and everything, but when we do get a deal, like that's a big chunk of our money for the year. So for example, I meant to talk about this just because it is relevant for making sense of like why these things affect our confidence so much. A deal like the one I was talking about with the couple that said they changed their mind, they want to go with a friend of theirs, like that, even if their place, I was pretty confident I could sell it for about $600,000. Even getting the sale, representing them on the sale side of that, like, that's almost probably, I mean, depending on the commission that you negotiate, that's about $20,000. And it's just crazy. Like that's one of the reasons these things are that they hit so hard. It's like because it's such a big chunk of your yearly income. You're not going to do probably, unless you're just like rocking and rolling, and good for you if you are, but that doesn't happen every day. You don't have the opportunity to make $20,000 every single day. So in real estate, like I think the confidence factor is something that's really it's really important, but it's also it's variable, because you feel so good when you succeed. You feel like a winner. You feel like just like a victory. You feel so good when it goes well, and when you did an awesome job and your clients are happy and you have money in the bank. Like you feel so good. But then when you say you put it all out there and you do the best you can, and then you don't, maybe they don't go with you, or it doesn't work out, and you feel like a failure. I mean, you feel like it's hard to explain, but I'm sure you can imagine. If you're in any kind of sales, you probably know what I'm talking about. But the fact is, your value isn't, determined by what you did that day and what happens in that situation, because you're going to have so many opportunities to succeed and so many opportunities to fail. You're going to do both, and you're going to learn from every experience. So, and that's also the other thing about that is like, I have this question here: is it worth it? Is it worth it? And that's one of the things that I was repeating in my head when I was experiencing these like things that felt like failures. Like, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth it. It's taking too much of my emotional energy. It's taking too much of my hopes, and it's like too much of my time and too much of this, and it's just not worth it. Like I would rather, like, I was like, I want to get a job at like Starbucks or something where I don't have the ups and downs. But you know what? I'm sure there's ups and downs to that too. But yeah, the thing is, it is worth it. If you do want to have the opportunity to reap really big rewards like that, like materialistically speaking, is it worth it to put it all in there? Yeah, it is. But you got to, and I have to, and I'm learning this, I have to just every day just get better at communicating, get better at getting that commitment to that appointment, and letting them know that, my time is worthy of respect and worthy of, I need to be on the same page with someone, and not just cross your fingers and hope that you guys are on the same page. You got to communicate, over communicate, be very, very explicit about mutual expectations, and yeah, just that's important. And honestly, in this case, I know for a fact I should have, maybe not a fact, but I know that I should have reached out more to the wife. Like, I more so talked to the husband, and I got the feeling that she was the one really making the decisions with a lot of it, and I should have put more forward there. But by that point, my confidence was already kind of shot, and honestly, I was just dealing with that other thing, the health scare, and I just didn't have, my cup was empty. I didn't feel like I had anything to I didn't feel like I had it in me. But when you think about, the stakes and what your potential reward is, you if this is your business, if your business is real estate, then you just go for it. While taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, and spending time doing things that make you feel good. So I didn't talk about this, but I don't want to not talk about it on the confidence thing about building your confidence. You got to do stuff that makes you feel good and good. Like for me, doing music. I'm working on a children's album. The show is about creativity in real estate. So doing things that, if you're a creative person and that like makes you feel more alive and makes you feel good, then spend time doing that. Like, and you can't be a real estate agent 24/7. You've got to set boundaries. You've got to set yourself a schedule. And if there's a time of the year where things are just feeling like it's a different kind of rhythm, then you need to kind of respect that. If you're able to do it, do it. Like for me, it's summer. My older daughter's here. We have shared parenting. She's not here as much during the school year. She goes to school in a different city, and she's here now for the summer. And I am not letting myself feel guilty for spending time at home and spending time with her at all, because business is slower right now for me. And I wrote this yesterday, and yet was it yesterday or 2 days ago when I did the flip the script, and I said, this is how it's supposed to be right now. It just makes sense that I'm like, I have this opportunity to spend this time with her, and that's what is happening. Like, it's good that I don't have a ton of business right now. It's actually good. So it's really hard to recognize this when it's happening, when you get in a negative state of thinking, and you start thinking that, things are wrong and that there's something wrong. But you know what? You just have to think about it a different way. And that will build your confidence and will build your business, and will help you be more balanced and happy and healthy overall. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to stop yammering now. I didn't look at the clock when I started this, so I have no idea how long I've been talking. But that's all for today. Thank you, as always, for listening. If you enjoy the show, please leave me a review. I would love it. Give me some stars on iTunes or the other places where you can listen to podcasts that I can't think of right now. And or go check out my YouTube channel. This is also on YouTube. All right. Have a great day, guys. Till next time. Bye.